All right, before I tell you our guest name, boxer, fitness coach, world record holder, race across America, finisher, competitor, winner. I mean, this guy has done it all. And our guest is Joe Petersen. Welcome to Lunch Break, Joe Petersen. We've got Tom Touchstone.
Joe, love having you, my friend.
Good
friends
to be here.
Yes.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And you know, I'm going to read a couple things to you that he has done and just like follow this along. See if you've ever done any of these things. And then if you
I haven't, Adrian.
And if you have, message us and maybe we'll put you on the show. Okay? 17 times he has finished the race across America. 17, which is the hardest race on the planet. That's over 3,000 miles. And it is compared. So Mount Everest is...
I've never driven a car 3,000 miles.
Yeah. And
that's just crazy.
And Mount Everest is over 26,000 feet of elevation, I believe. So they do that over 8 times in this race.
8 times?
8 times. It is that hard. It is that hard.
Some of us are slow learners.
Yeah. And he's been there and he's the 9 transcontinental records set it?
I've set 9 transcontinental records.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so he's done that.
Did you keep breaking your own?
I do, actually.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's a PR. I love that.
And so there's also this. So that was just like 3 things. Okay, Furnace Creek is a 508 super hard cycling race. And what does that say? 5 course records. So, I mean, that's just cycling, but he's done boxing, fitness coach. There's tons of people in Bakersfield who have lost weight. You've saved their lives pretty much through your fitness programs that you're doing, that you're currently doing right now as well. And I mean, that's just like, I could read this forever. He has 7-time California State time trial champion. Let's see, let's go back. The oldest one on here is when he was a baby. He won. No, I'm just kidding. But
you had me.
Right?
You were interested too.
He
My
did.
tricycle.
When he was a baby, he did 10 push-ups, breaking the world record of
I would
0.
wonder where you were going with that. So Joe, this is a fun part for me because I don't want to put you on the spot. So we've had a lot of fun with this question. What is something maybe people don't know about you? Now, you don't have to expose any skeletons or anything like that, but we've had people come on the show. Mike Maggard was colorblind. We've had the fire chief who was colorblind. We've had people come in with speech impediments. We had one person who wrote poetry and that kind of stuff. So is there anything that maybe somebody doesn't know about you that would like not shock them, but be kind of a revelation?
Most people who know me consider me somewhat of a jock. I hate that name.
Oh, I do too.
I'm highly offended when somebody calls me that. But one thing a lot of people don't know about me, because I do so much group fitness, I'm in front of the camera, I get interviewed all the time, is that I'm extremely shy and bashful. I'm extremely introverted. It took me a long time to get comfortable talking with people. When I first moved to Bakersfield, every time I turned around, there was a camera and a mic in my face, and my voice would crack and squeak, and I'd break out in a cold sweat. And you know, it took me years to get to the point where I go, you know what? Okay, I can do this.
So Joe, I'm going to come in here, and I might get the new music, but that's okay. So, because that was me too. And I actually went to athletics because I figured that would shut people down from asking me questions or that. Because I even one time, and I've shared this on the show, where I had headphones in the 80s with a Walkman. A lot of people don't know what Walkmans are. And I got interviewed by Flex Magazine, and they asked, what music do you listen to? I was thinking it was confidential. And I go, there's no tape in there because I'm not listening to music. I still want to talk to people. Yeah. And they printed it.
Hey.
Wow.
So people started going, oh, I know you're just ghosting us. You know, that wasn't a term back then.
And it is really weird, though.
So you're antisocial.
But what it was is, but was there something like that that made you go into boxing? Like, I'm going to punch your face in if you ask me a question or something? I don't know.
Okay. That's an interesting thing.
But because for me, I have a speech impediment, and I've dealt with it all my life, so I didn't want to talk.
Yeah.
I just said, hey, you can see me when I take my clothes off and wear bikini briefs. I mean, I gotta clarify that sometimes.
Don't share that photo. don't put it on our show, guys.
Yeah. We moved around a lot. We were dirt poor. We moved 2-3 times a year. There was always a new school. I was always a new kid. I didn't know anybody. But when I walked onto the school grounds, what transcended that and was a bridge to me was every single sporting event, everything we did on the playground.
You excelled.
I excelled at. And so I belonged only because people wanted me on their team.
Yeah. That's right.
And that helped a lot because I was too shy to talk to people.
But you got picked first.
And I always got picked first.
Yeah.
So it kind of helped, but then it put you on the spot to do what you didn't want to do. Then you had to talk. I love that about people, because some people don't see that about athletes.
Well, no, but we all have a story.
Yes.
And that story makes us who we are, and people don't really know the story. I can look at you and guess and speculate, but until I actually hear the words come out of your mouth, it's like, and the thing is, everybody can relate to those stories. That's why Jesus spoke in parables. We understand stories, and we can put ourselves in and go, hey, I get it, versus, something that's like much more, rote and black and white.
These guys know it here, because when I come to a difficult name that I can't pronounce, our producer, Mike Harvey.
Tom, it's Joe.
Joe.
So I will come in, and if I think about it too long, because I have a speech impediment, I'm a lisper, and if I think about it too long, I freeze.
Yeah.
And then it could turn into something else.
Yeah.
So if I mispronounce a name, and Joe's going to be easy for me, so is Adrian. But I
Try my last name.
Yeah. Oh, I did. I messed up his last name. He had to correct me on my last name for a long time.
I should have went there. Oh, sorry. But we won't go there. We won't go there.
Okay.
I want us to talk about this, Joe, because nobody definitely in public would know that about you.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I met you in public, and I would have never thought that you were that shy person that would want to shrink back or go back. Because, I mean, every platform I've seen you on, you're on the top. Definitely, and the mic is there, and you always perform really well in front of the mic. I'd never seen your voice crack or anything like that. But when it comes to questions, we need your guys' help.
Yes, we do.
So if you guys could we're going to try something new, something crazy. I want you guys to send videos of your questions that you have for our audience, for our guests, or just things you want to see on this show.
Yeah.
And if you send us a video, we will put the video in the show.
If it's...
Well, yeah, it has to be a good video, okay?
Well, I'm not even worried about good. It has to be clean, or,
Yeah,
right?
And this idea of the video question, it comes from a project that Mike and Alex are working on. And I'll let Mike and Alex kind of explain, tell them about the vlog, right? You guys have something going on called a vlog. I mean,
yeah. So the vlog, video log, yeah. So we
just look at Alex.
well, I think that's what it stands for.
I don't know.
Alex is in charge of the vlogs. Nathaniel was before, but Alex is new to our team, and
That's
love
right.
having him.
Good
here.
having Alex.
Seth
he's been
is
with us for
out.
about a month
Alex
now.
is in.
Seth has got a great send-off, got a great job.
We still love
love that man.
Yep. But Alex is doing a fantastic job. He's doing all the editing, but he's doing stuff, our behind-the-scenes channel, MLH Productions. And tell him a little bit about what you're doing with the vlogs.
Yeah, so basically with the vlogs is an excuse for me to get paid to goof off. That's basically all I get to do.
I like it.
I like it. You're man enough to say it right in front of your boss.
I know, right? But anyways, yeah, vlogs are just it's a multi-tool kind of thing that we're doing. Right now it's a bit goofy because right now we're like in between on our projects. Once we kind of get everything in our studio, we can actually vlog about stuff we're actually producing.
That's exciting.
But right now they're just like, hey, I'm like, hey, what can I do for the vlog? And they're like, I don't know, just do something. Like, get it out today. And I'm like, okay. So I just have to wing it a little bit,
behind the
but I
scenes
get
so
to
you can see as we're building the stuff and see what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's
So right now I
good.
just get to
Tomorrow,
goof off.
Alex has a to-do list.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for explaining that, guys. So we do have a new studio coming.
We do.
And I know Mike and a bunch of people have been working really hard on it. Alex, Nathaniel. We even had John L. there. So,
Yeah.
and I do want to say to
We had some help from Vince, too.
Vince,
Give a shout out to him.
John Tweed was there.
Yeah. He's
yeah.
helping him with soundproofing. And,
Yeah, definitely. And we have a new assistant today. We have Joanna Connell back there too. Say hi, Joanna, for the audience. They want to see you here. And we're excited. We have a lot of volunteers that come in, and it takes a whole team to make this happen. So thank you, team.
Yes.
But
Thank you, Adrian.
Back to you, Joe.
Back
to
to
you.
yes.
Back to you.
I didn't do it.
Well,
Yeah, you did. You did all that.
I will tell you, it is going to take everything to keep this show on track and not talk just about fitness, because you got 3 athletes sitting at a table, and we could talk about fitness. So if we said protein shake, we could talk about that for an hour. But we actually have something that I think the audience really want to hear. And I will title it The Heart of the Matter.
Ooh.
In that something has happened that is very different in your life, Joe. Something big. And I think the way you said that question, it really got...
Well, Joe and I got to talk a little bit off air, so I don't know if we preempted this, but there's something that I feel, and it came to me through Mike Maggard. Mike Maggard asked me after I had an incident in my life, so you thought you were bulletproof? and that's it. I mean, you get this mindset, right, Joe, where you do think that you're bulletproof. And some of the accidents he's told me through, he was in breaking his kneecap open and driving home. You know, you do, and then all of a sudden there becomes episodes that really make you feel like you're not, and then they make you put life adjustments in your way. So.
Yeah, sometimes those are doors that seem to slam shut, and people will let you use that as an excuse if you're willing to let it stand as such. But I remember being 12 years old, playing Little League Baseball, championship game, slid into second base, severely sprained my ankle, got up, got a sub runner, went back in, finished the game, and then I couldn't walk for 6 weeks and I was on crutches. But it was important to finish the game because I'm very mission oriented, and that's my work ethic. And throughout my athletic career, I've had one series of incidents after another. In 2000 Ram, I crashed with another rider and separated my shoulder, grade 3 separation, cracked 3 ribs, got up, still had 2,400 miles to go. Went to the hospital. They gave me some drugs and wrapped my
I complain about
arm.
10 more minutes of cardio. Joe.
And I got back in the mix, and we finished first in our age group, second overall.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
But I had to quit taking the medicine, even though it was cleared through the officials, because I was hallucinating and falling asleep on the bike. So I dealt with the pain. I couldn't breathe because of the ribs, so it was hard to get dressed and undressed. I couldn't get down in the handlebars real good because of the separated shoulder. I couldn't sleep because they were on opposite sides. So we finished the race that way. And right towards the end, it's like in typical comedic fashion, because that's what us athletes do to get by. We're getting close to the finish line. My crew chief, Aaron Resnick, my crew chief is going, "Right turn, Joe, right turn," and it's off the freeway and into the hotel finish line. And I'm going straight, and he's going, Joe, turn. And I kept going. It's like, and I was almost past the intersection, and I swooped over, and I turned around to point at him and laugh, and I forgot, and I used the wrong arm, and the separated shoulder was what was holding the bike. I almost went down right at the finish, right before the finish line. It's like, okay, well, that'll teach you to be smart.
Oh, man.
No.
And so that race, just so you know, when he says Race Across America Ram, it is not just like you just pedal and take your time and there's little 100-mile races. It's over 3,000 miles. So when he says he kept going and there's 2,000 miles, probably
left
100,000 miles,
2,000, that puts you in the desert.
So we go through the desert.
I just say
over
you're
the mountains.
Probably in the desert.
Yeah.
So
Most people who come to race it internationally, they actually will quit in the desert. Like if you're from Bakersfield, you have a huge advantage.
We're heat acclimated.
Yeah. So when we go to those events, the desert is okay for us. But these people come from Austria, Germany. They have not had that. And they just cook like
home field advantage.
And to put it in perspective, it's not ride across America, it's race across America.
Yes.
And we are literally going as fast as we can every single time we're on the bike. Typically, if you want to win the race and break and set records like what we've done, is you take 20 to 30-minute pulls during the heat of the day when it's 100 degrees, and then you tag off to a teammate and they go, and you do this round the clock. You never get more than an hour and a half sleep, and then you're back on the bike again, and you do this nonstop for like my fastest time crossing was 5 days, 6 hours, and 4 minutes. And that was LA to Savannah, Georgia. But yeah, it's a nonstop event, and it's everything you have as hard as you can go, giving it everything you got every step of the way.
And literally, I've never seen a team that you've been on stop or like not finish.
Just once.
Just
After we set the
Really?
two-man world record in 2006, Kevin and I looked at it and we go, we could have been faster. We won a big chunk of money because they were offering prize money for record breakers, and they didn't think anybody'd ever break it. So we decided to come back in 2007 and redo it. I apparently developed a pathological bacteria or something with pneumonia, and was sick as a dog and in complete denial. And I raced all the way into Colorado, and all of a sudden people were passing me, and nobody passes me in RAM. And I'm going, okay, something's definitely wrong here. We started climbing. It got to the point, and all my crew's going, Joe, we need to get you to the hospital. It's like, no, I can do this. It's going to get better. It'll go away. I developed double pneumonia. Both my lungs filled completely full of fluid. I was in the back of the van gasping for air. I couldn't get any air in. I couldn't get any air out. Luckily, I had some nurses on my crew. They, behind my back, denied my request not to call the ambulance. They called an ambulance. Then they did the breathing thing. They took me first to a hospital where they misdiagnosed me as having a major heart attack, sent me to the heart hospital, where we found out everything else that was going on. And so that's the only time I did DNF, Race Across America. We did stop that year.
That's crazy.
It was that or die. The doctor told me I had about 20 minutes.
I don't think anybody in the audience even knew that. So, but even in that though, that's still over, because if you made it to Colorado, that's over 1,000 miles.
It's about 1,400.
Yeah. You still made it 1,400 miles. That's insane.
So Joe, tell us about what else they found.
This particular instance, it was a good thing, because I've always worried about my heart, because heart problems run in my family. And so when they sent me to the heart hospital, the old guy from the Colorado Heart Hospital, it looked like he was about 70 years old. He comes in, he goes, I want to tell you, this is the biggest human heart I've ever seen. And I'm going, here it goes, enlarged heart. I'm going to get because the other guy told me I had a massive heart attack.
Because you have an athlete heart.
And I believed him, right? And he goes, but it's also the healthiest. Your valves are all healthy. He says just the walls are extremely thick. So that was a good note. But what happened this last race across America, which Tom is alluding to, is that we finished the race. We set the new 60-plus record.
Wow.
I get back home, and I'm having all kinds of problems with my ankle that had been reconstructed. And so I went to see my surgeon. He told me there's nothing wrong with the surgery. You've got a blood clot. When they discovered the blood clot, they were looking for branches off of that, and they found out I had an aortic aneurysm that was 4.5 millimeters. And so immediately I was pulled off of doing anything physical. They put me on blood thinners, blood pressure. It took them 3 months to get my blood pressure down from 190 over 90. It was pretty bad there for a while. They retested me about 3 months later, and the aneurysm apparently has disappeared, which is an answer to prayer. The clot obviously has dissolved, and so I'm still on a couple of medications, but I'm off the thinners now, and I'm almost to the point where I can see light. I'm back on the bike. I actually, Adrian, set my first 2 KOMs since that happened.
Oh my gosh.
I took the KOM from China Grade Loop from Manor to Gordon's Ferry.
What's a KOM?
King of the Mountain, fastest time, course record, anybody has ever done it with thousands of riders.
Well, I like, because this is where our audience loves to hear that overcoming. Because as you and I've discussed, I got told, and I've shared it with the audience, that I may never work out again. And when those things hit guys that have done nothing but depended on their bodies to either provide a living or be who we are, because men are what we do. And all of a sudden that gets taken from you. It's like, but then you do come to peace with it at a point. And then I love it that you came to peace with it, and then you started to overcome, and you went back out and you set the record.
Yeah, we went and rode, and Joe said, because he said, I wanted to meet with Joe, just have lunch, see how he was doing. And he's like, yeah, we'll just go on a casual ride. He shows up with this monster bike. It's a fixed gear, which means it's like the hardest bike to ride. You don't have like the ability to change gears. So it's on the ultimate big ring. What is it like?
And you can't coast.
Yeah, and you can't
coast. It's a 75/14.
75. So the ring's like this big in the front. I know some people who don't ride bikes don't understand. The big ring in the front was this big. And we just take off. So I'm thinking we're going to go 10 miles an hour. No, we were at 20 miles an hour before I knew it. And we pretty much the whole ride was 20 miles an hour on that bike, and he's recovering, and we're talking the whole way. And I'm just like, Joe, I've got news for you. You're recovering. You're recovering fine, Joe. You will be fine. God has a plan.
Yes.
You will come back in it. But I think for a lot of people out there, I know we all get news sometimes that crushes us, and it makes us feel like we're not who we are. Like we can't be who we are on the inside. And that overcoming spirit, that thing that God puts in us, that burning desire to be who he made us to be, many times brings us to overcome, right? Because that's what I see. When I seen you on the bike path and you couldn't help yourself to go 20 miles an hour, I was like, he's just being Joe. Like,
Well, it inspires me now just because, I mean, I'm older than Joe. We found that out on the show by a few months.
5 months. 5 months.
5 months.
And so, but it inspires me because as I am making some attempts to get more physically fit, I'm making attempts to do some things. It does inspire me even to say, I can do more. I can push a little harder, because, I of course I got to keep an eye on my heart valve and things like that. But it inspires you.
What I have seen, I have watched you over the years. You're smart. You're not just somebody who gets in the gym and throws iron around, right? And so as we get older, we have to get smarter.
Yes.
And yes, there's so much that you can do, but you have to be smart enough to do it at a pace where your body can slowly adapt. It's about progressive resistance and that forced adaptation.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you even reverted to the faith factor. As we talked about it, Jeet is his cardiologist too.
What? Yeah. We had Jeet on our show.
Yes.
So Jeet made, hopefully we can add this in, but he made a statement that rocked the world. He said, us doctors are not gods.
I like your imitation.
I
don't even try those things.
No.
I do horribles.
It was awesome. I was like...
But it's so true.
Yeah.
But he said faith is a medicine. And I love the fact that you said, hey, my aneurysm's not there, not detectable. And I think you have to attribute that to faith and how God's allowing you back in. But does it give you a new platform, Joe?
Everything you do gives you a platform. We all have a story, and that story is a useless parable if we never share it, right?
Yes, I agree.
But you tell that story, and people can go, wow, if you can do it, so can I. In my boot camps, if people tell me all the excuses about why I can't do this and I can't do that, and I tell them, look, I did this, I snapped my knee in two, I got up, I walked, I did this. They told me I'd never race again. 5 months later, I won Race Across America. In 2019, I crashed my car on the freeway really, really bad. I was a major rainstorm. My GPS took me off of the 5 onto some podunk road with no lights, no markers, pouring down rain, pitch black. Luckily, I had already dropped my daughter off at Davis. I have no idea where I'm at, and there's a car coming at me, so I scooted over just a little bit to make way. My front tire hit a patch of mud. Next thing I know, at 60 miles an hour, I went straight into a ditch. My car went end over end. It rolled about 4 times and hit a power pole about 8 feet in the air, slid down on the side.
So you don't do anything normal?
So I'm not normal.
Not
I've
even
never
crash
been
normal.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there going, okay, where's all the blood coming from? Well, my head had gone through the window, and so my scalp was completely split open. It felt like my arm was snapped in two, but I snapped my neck. So I fractured my C7. I've been paralyzed, partially paralyzed ever since. It's still tingly 3.5 years later. But that was one of those moments. It's like, okay, they helicoptered me to a televac unit. They did everything they could. I was awake the whole time. I was in denial. No, I don't have a concussion. Yeah, right.
Producer Mike Harvey.
I go home. My brother takes me all the way back to Bakersfield. I show up the next morning in my spin class with the neck brace, and I'm all busted up and whatnot. And
you can't have an excuse in this big class.
Oh, yeah.
Joe, what are you doing here? It's like, well, I got a class to teach. And apparently I fell asleep in the middle of the class. They were kind enough not to wake me up. But I finished and I was completely oblivious. I had no idea.
I was going to say, you might even fell asleep on the bike and just kept pedaling.
Yeah.
But 10 months later, we won the world championship and set an overall record, me and Fast Frankie here from Bakersfield.
Oh, yeah.
10 months after that. But the worst part of the whole thing, and you'll totally relate to this, do you know who Kimmy Keithley is?
Yes.
Do you know Kimmy?
I don't.
She's a physical therapist. She's a little wisp of a thing. She's about this big around and about 8 tall, super phenomenal cyclist. So she comes over to my house to help me out and check me out. And I'm sitting there, and she goes, and I tell her all about the accident. She goes, well, here, put your hands up. And so I put my hands up like this. And at this point, I'm just thinking I've got a sore arm, right? She goes, okay, I'm going to push down on your hands, and I want you to resist. And it's like, she did this, and my right arm just fell to the ground. It's like, and tears. It's like, I'm 6'4", I weigh 230 pounds. I win 3,000-mile bike races. I'm a boxer. It's like, I'm a fighter. And tears
really
are rolling. And she's this little tiny girl, and my arm just failed. And I looked at her, and tears started going down my eyes. It's like, you've got to be kidding me. First time I got on the bike, it's like I tried to stand up like I normally do to sprint. I fell because the arm wouldn't hold me up.
Wow.
And it's like I went from doing 100 push-ups a day to doing 0 push-ups a day. And well, you can tell my arm, it's atrophied. There's certain muscles that are not responding. I can't shoot a basket anymore, but my basketball career was over a long time ago.
Yes.
But I thought I'd always be able to play, right?
Yeah.
I can't even hit a free throw. Because something disconnects at some point during that movement. But God has allowed me to get back on the bike and ride and do what I love doing. And allows me to talk and fellowship with friends and reach out and help people.
Yeah, and I think that is the thing, though. Like, maybe you're not going to go back, right? Like, we age out. We get injuries. We're not going to be able to set the world record that we had 10 years ago.
He might.
Yeah, we will.
You might, Joe. But I'm just saying, there are certain things that are in our lives that God uses to say, okay, I have something new for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, like when I told Ron, I took him to see Ron. I said, Ron, I got a guy you need to meet. He's the world record holder. You got to meet him. So Ron's like, yeah, bring him back here. So I take him back there. And Ron's first comment, did you know Norm Hoffman? He was really fast too. And I go, well, he beat Norm Hoffman, Ron. And Ron goes, really? I was like, yeah, 3 times.
I love that.
But it was awesome because, I mean, many people don't know, like, what was your connection to get into cycling?
Yeah.
Well, you guys talked when Kerry was here, you guys talked about Alton Sasso and Norm Hoffman. Those are my 2 connections. So the way this all came together, I moved to Bakersfield. I was a football player, basketball player, boxer. I've done everything except for triathlons. I'm here in the early mid-'80s, and everyone's doing triathlons.
What was that one they used to do, the Bud Light triathlon?
Yeah. It was an Ironman qualifier, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I ran into my friend Alton in the store, and Alton loved everybody, and he wanted to help everybody out. And he goes, Joe, I got a bike for you. I just bought a new bike. And so he gave me his old bike for like $150, which was a steal. But it's like it was a bike. I started riding with the guys, and it was really cool. I was the token white boy in the group, and we just had a ball. We were out riding along, and we're out on Breckenridge one day, and this mountain on a bike, Norm Hoffman, comes flying by us like we're standing still, and we're doing like 16, 17, 18 miles an hour, slightly uphill. He goes, hey, fellas, and he goes by, and I looked at him, and it's the first time I'd seen a cyclist my size. I'm 6'4", 230. Norm was about 6'3", I think, maybe 190. And I saw that, and I looked at my friend out, and I go, I can do that. He goes, no, he says, he's not normal. He's a god, and nobody's ever going to do that. And I'm going, you just told me I couldn't do something. Like, I don't like being told I can't do something. It took me 3 years of very hard work to catch that man, but I did.
It is so funny because we were talking before, because I told him a story about me and bodybuilding. So I came back to Bakersfield. There was a Mr. Bakersfield contest. I was winning open shows in LA. And there was a contest, and Norm Hoffman was one of the judges. So it was the first time I got a show robbed from me. And they all told me that, even the winner. He gave me back the trophy. He says, this is your trophy. I go, no. Norm came up to me and goes, so you're from Bakersfield. You're going to be a bodybuilder? I go, yeah. He goes, I'm getting out of bodybuilding. So I drove him into a bike ride. Well, a lot of people don't know that Norm went into not hang gliding, but flying gliders.
Hang gliding.
Yeah. He went into hang gliding. A lot of people don't know that part of his story. And then he started riding bikes. I mean, it was funny how he would challenge himself to try something he's never done.
Yeah.
You know, and then when he started flying the planes and stuff, I thought, he's going to die there. But bike riding really, took our friend out.
Yeah.
I remember after the first time he got hit, second time I'm like, you still want to do this?
Okay, he was on my wheel the first time he got hit.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's funny because I met him down at the hospital back when Dr. Shorter.
I think one of the cool things that you can start to see as an audience is that these super athletes are super encouragers. Like, I can tell you that a lot of times, I know even when I started cycling, I was trying to get faster at time trialing. And my friend Tina Chapa is actually the reason I met Joe. And she was an ultimate, cyclist too. She would blow her knees out in races and just keep going. She was like that because she hung out with Joe. But she's like, if you want to get faster, you need to talk to Joe. Go meet Joe. Go ride with Joe. So I go ride with Joe, and Joe's like, yeah, we're going to do like 5 loops around this hill called Round Mountain today. And it's like, I could do 1 with you. And I was like, 1? What do you mean? You mean you're going to do this more than once? He's like, yeah, by the time you get there, I would have done it 3 times. And believe me, I just started. Mike, you did Round Mountain. How hard is 1 loop? Is it real easy?
The first time I did it, no, I I thought I was gonna die, but I was like, I'm not giving up.
Right. But
yeah.
Mike did it at the Kern Moment ride. So kudos to you, Mike. You're almost there. You can
Well, do
get there.
you know the challenge that you threw down to Mike, don't you?
Oh yeah,
This
I
year in
remember.
the show, you said that he might be able to ride as fast as you one day. So he's taking the challenge.
He's taking
on.
the challenge on. But either way, I'm on Round Mountain Road. I'm riding with Joe, and he has already done like a couple laps on the hill. And I'm just like, there's no way this guy can go this fast that many hours. And thank the Lord, I got a flat tire. And I was like, Joe, I've got a flat.
A legitimate excuse.
Yeah.
'Cause Joe's not going anywhere else.
And I go,
tell
Joe,
you
just
that.
keep going, Joe. And Joe's like, oh, no, we'll fix it. Come on. He's sitting there encouraging me. He's saying, oh, you're doing a good job, just keep going, And I just remember thinking like, so the faster you go, the more encouraging you are, I guess. But it is that way as you become an athlete and as you rise up, the real athletes that rise to the top level are the biggest encouragers for other people because they've been to the bottom already.
Well, and you're paving the way.
Yes, you're making a way. Yeah. So I see that. I see that many times. Like even you, Tom, you're a super encourager in our church, in the gym. I mean, even to me, you'll point something out that maybe most people won't even notice, like your delt's looking really nice, Adrian. You've been working out, and I'm all, yeah, I have. How did you know?
Well, Adrian, I got to say, you're a super encourager too.
You are, Adrian.
Me and I know Kyle would say the same thing. So.
Oh, man.
You know what I think, and I don't know where this hits you at, Joe, because my sport was visual PED. I mean, it is. And I've always been, when the young kids come to me, I try to be as honest as I can with them because, they'll look at me like I'm stupid, and, like when it goes to anabolics or something like that. And I'll just tell them there's nothing in the world you can do more than I did or tried to do, did it all. And I go, so I've got stage 2 kidney disease. And I've got hardening of the arteries, which turns into a valve problem. I go, so that is waiting for you around the corner, and I've got this melanoma scar now that my dermatologist, and I'm okay, but he says, I think I warned you of this when you were 20. I go, you did. So I just tell people that, hey, let me help you with a little wisdom, because the Bible says gray hair and wrinkles give you that.
Right?
Right.
And so I love it. So do you ever get questions from the kids that want the shortcut? Want the secret.
Or the adults.
Or the secret, and they're like, hard work is the
No,
secret.
what you get, and Norm got this a lot too, is anytime you start coming up and you're new in the sport, it's amazing when you win. Everybody's excited. It's really, really cool. And then you start picking your way through the crap and through the pile. And then you're like number 3, and then you're number 2, and then all of a sudden you're number 1. When you're the hunter, it's a lot of fun. It's really awesome.
Yes.
All of a sudden, when you're the king of the mountain, now you're no longer hunting. You are the hunted. And so now you don't have the luxury of having a bad day.
Yes.
You have to perform at top level, or it's, hey, I beat Joe Petersen. And that's
You
one of those
become
things.
that guy.
They say that sports build character. They don't. They actually reveal character.
Yeah.
And here's the difference in character. I mean, I love Norm Hoffman to death. Norm needed to focus on villainizing his opponent. He needed
he was
to
always
froth
nice.
at the mouth, and he just like hate. I mean, you could tell when he was writing, and it's like dried spit down both sides of his face. I was never that person. I always had a smile on my face when I rode. Even in the middle of a state championship race, I still did this and raised my hand when I passed people. And I never showed up at a race going, I want to beat Tom. It's like, I want to be the absolute best I can be.
Be the best Joe.
And if it's good enough to win first place, great.
I love that.
If you ever interview me and ask me, Joe, how do you expect to do in that next race? I'm going to tell you, Tom, I think I'm going to finish somewhere in the top 1. That's not because I'm being egotistical or overconfident. That's because if I don't fully expect to win the race, I have no reason to be in the race. And so when people ask me for that shortcut, that is the shortcut. It's faith, it's belief.
Yes.
You can have all the talent in the world if you don't have the work ethic, if you don't want to get out and put in the time, if you're not willing to suffer, and if you don't want it worse than the next person next to you, you're not going to win. If you tell yourself, oh, I don't feel it, oh, this hurts and that hurts, and if you tell yourself that, you're setting yourself up for failure. You have to believe. Faith does move mountains in very mysterious ways, but you have to show up going, I can do this.
Right.
And I have a quick story about the I can do this thing if you don't
Oh,
mind.
Yeah,
absolutely.
go
I
ahead,
love this
Joe.
stuff.
Okay. I've done a lot of races, obviously. I had never done two-man race across America before, and I got a phone call from my partner, Kevin, because we had done a four-man, the team before. And he goes, Joe, what do you think about doing two-man? Because we couldn't find anybody we felt were worthy enough to race with us so we could, do what we wanted to do. And I just laughed and I hung up on him. And then I thought about it for about a week, and I prayed about it, and I called him back up. Kevin, were you serious? He goes, yeah. And I said, all right, let's do this. Hung the phone up, prayed again. I'm giving this to you, God. I'm trusting that this is what you want, because now you're asking me to do twice the work and half the rest. And so I'm getting ready to do this race, and about 3 weeks before the race, I get hit by a welding truck, run over, thrown through the air, completely shattered
On
my
your
right
bike.
shoulder on my bicycle. Totaled my bike, totaled my shoulder. They offered to call an ambulance, which I always refuse because I don't need an ambulance. So I had somebody take me and drive me to the hospital.
He needed an ambulance. Go ahead.
It just so happened that the doctor who saw me in the emergency room was a cyclist and had heard about me in the newspaper. They did an article about Race Across America. And so he comes in and he goes, Joe, he says, there's no way you're doing Race Across America in 3 weeks. It's completely shattered. He goes, unless, I said, unless what? He says, hold on a second. So he goes, and Chris, the main orthopedic surgeon from Scully is there, Chris Hamilton, phenomenal
Dr.
surgeon.
Hamilton,
I love
yes.
that man. So he shows back up in my room with Chris. It's like, Chris, I trained his mother-in-law. Chris, what are you doing here? He goes, well, I'm hearing that if you're going to do Race Across America, I'm going to have to custom form a steel plate to hold your shoulder together.
Yeah.
I said, can you do that? He says, can you be in my office tomorrow morning? Total God thing, right? I mean, this doesn't
love
happen.
that.
It takes
Wow.
6 months to get into, total God things. I show up, sure enough, he puts the steel plate on. I'm back on the bike in 2 days, and I'm training and riding and doing great. And I said, quick, Dad, I've got this. We got this. Get down to the start line. It goes off. It's a parade start. I'm with the parade leaders, and all of a sudden we're back at the start line. It's like, where'd everybody go? It's like, well, you were supposed to turn off back there. So now the race is taking off without me, and I'm all by myself. I have no support crew. I have no idea where I'm at. And I'm going, I just started a 3,000-mile race, and I'm already lost.
You went the wrong way.
Yeah.
So I get back on my bike, and I said, well, where is it? We'll go back that way and look for this. And it took me about 20 minutes to find the turn to the bike path. So I get on it, and then I'm heading out on the bike path, and the official race starts on the other side. And every time I came across a group of people, did you see a big group of riders? It's like, yeah, they went that way. And so I'm going and say, okay, I got this. I get to the line. Everybody else has been there for about 15 minutes, and then they send them off casually in 1 minute.
Yep.
I get there 10 seconds before my start. I'm winded. I'm totally drenched, wet with sweat. I get on the bike, and we're going. And I'm going, okay, I've got this. And we're going, and Kevin's doing good. And then we get lost in Arizona. The road changed names, and we got lost, and we lost an hour and a half time. And I'm getting frustrated. I'm going, God, are you sure about this? And I said, I know I can do this. I got this. And so we get going again, and then we're like 3/4 the way across the country, and Kevin comes flying around a corner on his bike, hits a pothole, face plants, tears half his face off, gets a concussion, and we still have like a day and a half to go.
Yeah.
And I'm going, God, what are you trying to tell me here?
Did we
It's
miss
like,
something?
I prayed. You said do this. And so it's like I get on my bike, and I'm riding, and everything's going fine. And they're going, Joe, what's the matter? Are you mad? It's like, no, I'm not mad. Well, how come you're not pushing harder? It's like, I don't know if I'm doing the next 900 miles solo or if I've got a teammate or not. So I can't afford to push real hard at this point. And I'm just like shaking my head going, God. And the next thing I know, they pushed Kevin out on the bike. Kevin was able to get on his bike and pedal because Kevin trained almost exclusively in his garage in the dark on a trainer for 5 hours because he's one of those mental cases that doesn't understand
Wow.
that.
That's what you do. You go ahead and
he
sea
did.
train.
And so we figured out we can put Kevin in about every hour or so for like 20, 30 minutes so I can go to the bathroom, get some food, change clothes, get ready. And we did that. And it was getting later. We're in the battlefields of Gettysburg, and we still got like 500 miles to go. And I am just stressed. And it got to the point I got tired of going, God, I got this. And I'm through the battlefields. I sat up on my bike. And I
Little
raised,
battlefields in the.
Say it, Joe.
yeah, there was cannonballs everywhere.
So I know this story.
I raised my
Say it,
hands in my
Joe.
airs. I said, God, I give up. I quit. The second I did that, there's this bolt of light. It's like, and I had clarity like I've never had in my entire life. And it's like, we are going to win this race. We are going to set the new world record. what I didn't realize is everything you heard me say, whether you listened to it or not, was up to that point, even though I gave it to God, even though I prayed
You're
constantly,
stressed.
I kept saying, I've got this.
Yeah.
I didn't say, we've got
Yeah.
it. I said, I've got this.
That's right.
The second I let go and said, God, you take it, I knew I had such it was like an epiphany like I've never had before. Sometimes God has to hit you in the head with a 4x4 to get your attention.
Amen. Listen to that.
I stood
audience.
up and started sprinting through the battlefields, and now all of a sudden the crew's coming up in a long. It's like, Joe, what are you doing? We still got a long ways to go. It's like, we've got it.
I love that.
I just sat down and hammered, and it was like the most amazing race and amazing experience I've had in my life.
Almost that spiritual experience.
And this brings let go, let God, true meaning.
I love that.
Which was on one of his jerseys. I
Yeah,
think
on the
that
sleeve it says let go, let God.
let go, let God.
I love that.
Yep.
You know, as I hear that story, I was sitting there, and I was never a believer when I was my decade in competitive bodybuilding, and it's one of those things that faith does matter.
Absolutely.
That's right.
It
It's
does.
everything.
It is, because as I retired, I still I in the bodybuilding world, I'm the underachieving Mr. California. I really am, because a lot more is expected of me. Pete Grimkowski, owner of Gold's Gym, had a belt buckle made for me, Mr. America, just didn't put the date in it. And I felt really just like I didn't accomplish that. But God, when I got out and retired and went on, God, when I got saved, told me, Tom, you did enough. And it's the thing that gave me peace,
Yes.
Yeah.
getting away from that, because there is no peace.
No.
But when you know God, you do have peace. And I had peace.
Yeah.
And, people ask me about, competing and stuff. I go, no, never. I'm so happy what I've done. I love serving God. But it was funny, when I got out, I had no peace. And not until I got saved did I have peace. I love your story.
Yeah, and when God gives you that option of stopping to do something, it's okay to stop.
yes.
I know that's a big difference, because sometimes people stop because they have a sorry excuse. Like, oh, I have kids or this and
I
that.
haven't heard that word in a long time. Sorry.
Yeah, a sorry excuse. That's what I call it. Or I have a job now, whatever.
Or
Get up,
kids.
don't sleep. Ride your bike. That's my mindset when it comes to training. But there is this moment when God tells you to stop.
Yes.
When
Yeah.
God pulls you back, and you have peace in that, because he gives you something to stay back. And it's like a reward for doing what he said. And someday it will happen, I know. But I know it's not this year for Joe. That's for sure. But is there anything you would like to leave with our audience? The story's amazing.
It is.
Let God.
Let go and let God.
Let go and let God is amazing. But is there anything else you want to leave our audience with?
My main message is this, that anybody can accomplish anything. There's a verse in Corinthians that says, don't you know that all runners who run a race run, but only one wins the prize. Run in such a way that you may win. And I know that is a parable, and it's not necessarily talking about athletic endeavors, but it does apply.
Yeah. Don't you love that Paul talked about athletics all the time?
Absolutely.
You're like, I get it.
Yeah, totally. And so the worst thing that can happen to us is limitations. My life story is this. I've been told my entire life, you'll never do that. You'll never accomplish that. You can't do that. You're done. You're never going to race again. That's my story. Those are other people and outside influences trying to dictate what your story is. You're the author. They're not. So the best thing you can do for yourself, because anybody can be a champion.
That's true.
Right.
The worst thing you can do for yourself is negative self-talk. You can ignore everybody else putting you down, but if you're the one going, you know what, I can't do it, it hurts, this sucks, it's like, it's windy, it's cold, I'm tired, you are defeating yourself.
There's a Bible verse says, so a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
right.
100%.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
I love that.
Very apropos.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the limitations that we have are the limitations we set on ourselves. So get out of your own way, let go, let God, and accomplish everything. We were meant for abundance,
Yes.
but it's not going to be handed in your lap sitting there. You have to strive and work for it,
Oh, I love
and you
that.
will, because we're promised that.
That's awesome, Joe.
Let go, let God.
That's awesome. And thank you guys for watching.
Yeah.
We have some people that we want to give a huge shout out to. Of course, you've seen Mike Harvey, you've seen Alex, you've seen Joanna back there supporting us. And also, we want to thank MLH Productions
Yes.
because We're going to have a new studio soon, but they're the ones who edit, put this together,
Make it
put
possible.
it out there. Yeah, definitely. They make it possible. And we also want to thank our creative consultants, Tessa Touchstone and Taylor.
Yep, they still out there. They give us comments, and they happen to be my daughters, but one's a consumer, one's a producer of the content.
Yeah.
And we also like to thank Lucky's Rescue, and we have a dog that we're going to say, and his name is Vernon. I think they're going to put I love the names we get, from the show. And the last dog we had, they got adopted. So we thank you guys for that. But Vernon is a handsome 3-year-old
Wow.
American Staffordshire. I hope I pronounced that right. Staffordshire Terrier mix. He is an all-round cool dude who is up for anything, loves to play, game on, loves to chill, wears the remote. He would be happy as your only best friend, but wouldn't mind to play with a buddy if you have energy that matches his. There you go, Joe. He would be great for the family and older kids. He has not been cat tested, and I'm saying, well, let's cat test him.
Oh my goodness. Let's give him a cat test.
lover or no?
Just bring a cat. Well, thank you guys for watching. Follow, like, share our posts, and we hope you have a blessed day.
Joe, thank you.
Thank you, guys. God
God
bless.
bless.